Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia, home of Major League Baseball, Atlanta Braves. Before we check out the park itself and the digs around it, let's go outside the park, learn a little bit more about the history of the Atlanta Braves, and maybe check out a museum you might not have thought to visit. The Atlanta Braves weren't always the Atlanta Braves. In fact, they weren't always in Atlanta. They were in Boston. In 1871, they were called the Boston Red Stockings, and they changed their name to the Braves in 1941. And in 1953, they moved to Milwaukee, partly because it was really hard to compete with the Red Sox. And that started a whole migration of teams to the western part of the United States. They stayed in Milwaukee till about 1966, when they moved here to Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, where they stayed for 3 decades. Sadly, I can't show you that now because they imploded it to make room for a parking lot for the new stadium, which we're at right now. This is Turner Field, or it was Turner Field. The Braves played here till about 2016. It was the 1996 Olympic Stadium that fit 80,000 people, and they retrofitted it to make it a baseball stadium. I was lucky enough to be at a game before they changed to the new stadium. The former Turner Field is no longer a baseball stadium. It hosts soccer and lacrosse games for Georgia State University. But one of the cool parts is that it still has some remnants of its baseball heritage. It's a statue of their beloved son, Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron hit his 715th home run at Fulton County Stadium on April 8, 1974, breaking Babe Ruth's longtime record. Going to a baseball game means eating and drinking. Drinking beer, yes, but also maybe soda, Coca-Cola. Here in Atlanta, Coca-Cola was invented in the 1880s, and they have a wonderful museum here to check out. It all started with pharmacist John Pemberton in 1886. He mixed some special syrup he made, along with some carbonated water, served ice cold, refreshing especially in the hot Atlanta weather, to create a new category of beverage or refreshment known as a cola. He died only 2 years after he invented Coca-Cola. Never saw what it became.
1.9 billion servings a day. We actually have 500 brands with over 4,200 products.
These days, 70% of the company's revenue comes from outside the United States. A lot of interactive displays, especially if you have kids, very much entertain them. And for us old people, old Coke machines. Coca-Cola is the longest continuous supporter of the Olympic movement. We're getting a treat during this tour. We get to actually hold one in our hands. This is the Olympic torch carried by Muhammad Ali in the 1996 Olympic Games here in Atlanta. It's made out of Georgia pecan wood. Inscriptions are all the previous Olympic Games and their cities. I get to meet the Coca-Cola polar bear.
The secret formula for Coca-Cola is here.
I got to go check out being near the vault. It's pretty sensitive. They don't want you to get too close. It's just a tasting room where we taste Coca-Cola products from all over the world. Some you can't get in the States. All right, what do we got? All right, apparently it's a YouTube challenge to try Beverly from Italy. It's supposed to taste like licorice or something. I like it. Come to the Ballpark tour. I was lucky enough to be here when it first opened in 2018. This time I can go inside and take a look more closely.
We opened on April 14th of 2017. The San Diego Padres were very gracious to let us win our first game in this facility.
Made out of Lego blocks. Why did you guys need to build a new park? I mean, Turner Field is not that old. I know it was a former Olympic stadium and all that, but...
Well, I worked at Turner before here, and people would ask me that very question. And my response would be something like this. We actually leased it from the city of Atlanta. We didn't own it. If you had a landlord that didn't fix the parking lot lights, the toilets, or the holes where the rats were running out of, would you stay? You may notice that the seats here on the field level are also a little different from what's standard in most stadiums. This industrial mesh is actually proven to be very popular as it's softer, cooler, and wicks moisture more rapidly than the typical plastic ones up above.
Wonderful being on the field of any baseball park.
This is a natural grass field. It's a Bermuda grass with a ryegrass overseed. We actually replace this grass every year. We don't actually have dirt underneath our grass. We have 4,000 tons of root grade sand. The purpose of the sand is part of the first ever underroot aeration system in any facility anywhere in the world. There's tubes of air underneath the grass running through the sand, aerating the roots all year round, all day, all night. That's what keeps the Bermuda green when it gets really hot or if it gets really cold. If it's 100 degrees here, the grass is being air conditioned from below. We have 4,000 feet of irrigation pipe, 20,000 feet of drainage pipe, 18 pumps that can extract 120,000 gallons of water from the field every hour, goes into holding ponds. In fact, there's some underneath our bullpen, but the biggest one is underneath the red parking deck. Just imagine an ocean 12 feet deep underneath your parking garage. That's what we actually use to irrigate the field with. It's all reclaimed rainwater. Off on your left is Hope and Will's Sandlot. That's our kids zone. We have zip line, base running, batting cages, pitching cages, rock climbing, arcade games, bloopers clubhouse, an arcade store just for kids, and a snack bar with kid-friendly snacks. Come on a Sunday. All of those activities are at no cost to you if you're under the age of 14. And behind that glass is our little craft brewery that we operate in the ballpark. This seat is dedicated to the 92,000 American soldiers unaccounted for as POWs or MIAs. No one is ever allowed to use this seat. On opening day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, we'll have a sergeant at arms in full battle gear guarding this in their honor. There's only a handful of facilities in the country that honor the veteran to the extent that we do here in Atlanta. We wanted to bring the fans closer to the game. And on average, a seat in this ballpark is 25 feet closer than you would have been down at Turner Field. We actually pinched in the field so much, we have one of the smallest playable foul zones of any ballpark in Major League Baseball. And with fans being that much closer to a 100-mile-an-hour ball coming off a bat, we had to extend the netting all the way to the foul pole just to protect them. We were the second team to do that behind the Chicago White Sox, and we did it prior to it becoming mandatory for everybody. So the fan experience has been greatly enhanced by the fact that we are here. There is a 20-foot wide, 8-foot high TV screen on the wall. One of the things that's popular here is the fact that if you're in for a ball game, you don't have to be stuck in your seat. You can go anywhere in the stadium except for one place, and that's somebody else's seat. In 1966, when we moved into Fulton County Stadium, at 750 feet above sea level, it was the highest elevation ballpark in Major League Baseball at that time. And it quickly got the reputation as the launching pad or the fly zone for the numbers of home runs hit out of that stadium, more so than any other stadium in MLB at the time. We're now even higher here at 820 feet above sea level. But in the meantime, they built, of course, Colorado, and then one in Arizona is at 1,000 feet. And our radio network goes out over more than 150 stations all throughout the South and Southeast. It is recognized to be the largest sports radio network in the world. 32 large-scale TV screens. The biggest one over there is 121 by 65 feet, has 8.5 million LED lights in it to give you high-definition TV in that scale. There's 1,350 flat screens on the inside of the building. The inspiration for our batter's eye with the trees, and they're real trees, and the waterfalls comes from the beauty you would find in the North Georgia forests and streams. Fairly rare occurrence. This is the entire list. We've not had that happen in 30 years. Warren Spahn is actually on there twice. He threw one when he was 39 and another when he was 40. He did take 3 years of his career off after his rookie season to serve in the U.S. military during World War II. He's wounded at the Battle for the Remagen Bridge, receives a Purple Heart and a Good Conduct Medal, and after the war comes back and pitches 15 seasons and becomes the winningest left-handed pitcher of all time. Here are all replicas of the ones Hank Aaron would have worn before and during his time with the Braves. It's entitled Moment of Contact, as it represents the moment a 715th home run ball contacts the bat. In his career, he hit 755 home runs, a record for 32 years. You'll notice the first name over there is Cy Young, the winningest right-handed pitcher. Of course, Warren Spahn's the winningest left-handed pitcher. And in fact, we do have a treaty with the Eastern Band of the Cherokee. Well, Truist Park is the first ballpark or stadium anywhere in the world where the entire community in which it's located was conceived, designed, and constructed simultaneously with the stadium as part of a larger project. And at the same time, we're building out the Battery. There's apartment complexes. We also have hotels, other entertainment venues, different restaurants, and several retail stores. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Say you're in Atlanta, but the Braves are still out of town, so you can't see the game in person. You can watch it on the big screen in the plaza right outside the park. And from that same plaza, you can bring some takeout, sit here and relax and enjoy the weather, and play games. Just a very family atmosphere. I hope you enjoyed this little quick baseball trip to Atlanta. Hope it inspires you to come to Atlanta, check it out for yourself, or check out another stadium. Thanks for joining me on Mary Goes Around the World. Here's my tip of the week for you. If you're coming to Truist Park or the Battery, the area around the park, parking is free for the first 2 hours, and after that, you can still get free validated parking. Spend a certain amount of money at some of the vendors here, and you get free parking. For more details on the most up-to-date information on that, I'm putting the website on there so you can figure out which parking garage to go to and get that free parking.